All right, well, thanks for having us. I know it's the end of the day. Hope you guys had some coffee. John just flew in very recently, so we're glad to have him. But really, thanks for being here. Exciting weekend for everyone here, for the city of Las Vegas. It is becoming a historic weekend, right? Pretty exciting. So I just want to introduce myself really quickly. Matt Boyer. I lead our sports motive as an agency. I lead our sports gaming and entertainment studio. We call it a studio. Some of us call it capabilities. I call it vertical.
We have studios.
You have studios? Okay, perfect. It might mean a little bit different though, right? So really excited to be here. And I'm really excited to be here with John. We recently got to know each other a little bit. He's got a lot to tell us in the next 25 minutes. But anyway, guys, John Reseburg, EA Sports owned VP of Marketing, Partnerships, and Communication. Yep. Yay. So anyway, really quickly, before we get into John, we'd like to play a little bit of video. Just hold on a second, because I think most of you know who EA Sports are or is. So, but we just want to throw up a little bit of a reminder of some of the work that they've done.
Let me add this to the game. Follow me, I'm the captain. Put my foot on the gas and go. Getting ready for action. No one does it like Jackson. If it's true, I ain't bragging, no. Up and down, I got the golden touch. Yeah, coming in real clutch. Give me the ball, I run. I want it all because I am the chosen one. 1, 2, 3, yeah, we run the scene. You ain't never seen anybody do it like me. Do it like me, you never believe. Take a hard look, you be walking places. Oh my God!
I started running, I was 22, but before I was playing video games, I learned a lot from the video games.
Got the golden touch.
Nice, well done. So, hey, John, tell us a little bit about yourself. You've got a pretty unique role at EA Sports, and we're dying to hear about it.
Okay, well, I mean, the bad news is it's kind of all downhill from there. That's the good stuff. That's the fun stuff about what we do, obviously, and we get to make entertainment for a living. I mean, you know, it's hard to imagine being in a better position. I feel very fortunate every day getting to do what I do and lead the teams that I lead and just be part of an organization like EA Sports, working in this space, working in moments and spaces like this. I mean, we're in the middle of Las Vegas, and there's a Formula One race happening on the streets of Las Vegas. Like, it's just beyond exciting. So yeah, I lead, as we said, marketing partnerships and communications for EA Sports on a global basis. It's a pretty broad mandate. You know, I have a communications background, so I spent probably about 20 years leading communications, both with firms as well as then coming in-house at EA and then EA Sports, and going through a few different roles along the way, but central focus always on storytelling. That's kind of, it's at my core. It's what I, you know, focus on the most. And, you know, as I look at what we do and, you know, our opportunities for EA Sports, storytelling becomes kind of the central thread as we think across, you know, what has been traditionally defined as communications, but now more so is moving into blended areas of marketing. I'm responsible for brand marketing for the EA Sports brand and how we're looking to elevate that brand further into the broader context of sports. So moving from an organization, a brand that's known primarily as a sports game brand to, you know, really taking our place, or the place we believe that we have a right to play, which is, you know, really having EA Sports show up as a leading sports and entertainment property on a worldwide basis. So, you know, in addition to leading all of our communications, I lead, as I said, our brand marketing for EA Sports. I also lead all of our athlete marketing efforts. So, you know, getting to work with a number of the drivers in the paddock this weekend, and athletes that we work with across all of our sports. There's over 100 in total that we work with just about every year as brand ambassadors in some capacity for EA Sports. So all of that is part of my remit as well. So yeah.
Nice. You guys hiring or no?
Kind of always, yeah.
He gave me hope. He said he came from an agency background,
I
so I
did.
still have hope. Maybe I'll go brand side one of these days. Look, you guys are, you are the leader, or you are a leader in this space. There's no question about it. You've taken some super big swings over the years, right? Like with some of the titles that you've released and the partnerships that you've formulated. But sports is changing, right? Fandom is changing, and like I think you guys realize this. So it's how do you guys view sort of that changing nature of sports fandom? We'll get into a little bit of maybe a non-linear, linear approach at some point in this discussion, but like it's evolved quite a bit since you've been there.
Certainly, and there's a lot of different ways to think about that change. But I'll start with what you said just a second ago about you're taking some big swings. Yeah, we have, and you think about that even just in the last let's call it 12, 18 months maybe. It seems like it's been a constant series of big swings that are really rooted in, again, the opportunity we have to broaden out reach larger and larger audiences, and in a lot of ways thinking about how we're reaching younger audiences. EA Sports is a brand that's been around for 30 plus years, and when you said, do any of you know EA Sports, I saw a lot of nodding heads through the room. I'm sure a number of you have probably played our games, do play our games, and if any of you have kids, they probably know some of our games as well. So, thinking about how do we reach and connect with an audience that spans from 40, 50-year-olds down to 5-year-olds to 10-year-olds and on up. And the truth of the matter is how you think about consuming sport is very different from how a 10-year-old or a 13-year-old thinks about consuming sport, how they're building their fandom. The most significant difference is, whereas you maybe came up and like I did, some of my first experiences in sport before I even started playing, on a court or a field was going to Washington Husky football games with my dad. That experiential each weekend moment of being in the stadium together with 70,000 other fans, watching the team that you love. For the youngest audiences today, their first experience with sports is going to come through games. And we have a lot of data, some of it's come through our own consumer insights team that has kind of a rolling 3-year or so study they've been doing on Gen Alpha in particular. And 2 data points that gives us. First, for young fans who consider themselves already to be sports fans, we're now seeing that their preferred form of engagement with sport is through games. More of them are playing games than they are watching sports or watching live sports or sports highlights. Their first form of entertainment when it comes to sports, their first form of fandom when it comes to sports is through games. For the non-avid fans, those who are just starting to get exposed to sport, 2/3 of them show greater interest in engaging with sports games than watching sports or following sports on some other platform. So sports or interactive entertainment is the first and preferred form of entertainment for younger fans. So that presents a huge opportunity for us, but then it also means we need to think differently about how we're building for those needs and motivations of younger fans who are coming up with more interest in creativity and how to express themselves, less interest in following a linear broadcast of a 3-hour game or match, and they're looking for something that's far more social that they can play with their friends. So all of those things are continually shaping the world that we get to play in, the world of sports fandom, and that's why we keep having to take big swings, because the nature of what we do, we have this incredible core competency of creating incredibly deep and authentic simulation experiences, sports simulation experiences. The needs and motivations of different consumer groups, especially younger audiences, are looking for some of that, and they're also looking for some very different things.
are there certain titles that lend to more success? And what I mean by that is, John and I got in a debate the other day about, is our sports, gaming, and entertainment a integrated ecosystem shaping fandom?
Yeah.
Maybe. Or is it a fragmented ecosystem that is shaping culture and fandom? I think we're both right on some level, probably both wrong, but or maybe we're both.
Bit of both.
Yeah, a bit of both. But what is because we talked about this nonlinear approach to sports, right? Like, I'm the same way. There's a certain group of us in the room that are old enough to remember going to games just for game's sake. You consumed your content at night on the local news. I grew up in St. Louis. It was Channel 5. Watch the Cardinals highlights, read the St. Louis Post-Dispatch the next morning to get my stats. And then ESPN came along and boom, here we go, right? So my journey was more linear.
Yeah.
Yours, we talked about this, yours was linear, but now that it's become fragmented, what challenges do you face? Or how do you move it towards being frictionless or somewhat frictionless?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the goal. I wouldn't say it's quite the holy grail, because I think we have a view towards how we can get there, and we're starting to take some steps in that direction.
Yeah.
But that notion of how do you take some of the friction out of what does it mean, and how do you interact with sport as a fan today? And how can we be in a position as EA Sports to be able to facilitate more of those connections and touch points? And as I said at the outset, we believe we have a very strong right to play there. Obviously, we begin from a point where, like I said, we have these these experiences across a broader portfolio. We're from a geographic perspective, from a business model perspective, from a sports and the number of different experiences and leagues and properties that we part of our portfolio. We're in a stronger position than anybody else in terms of the reach that we have across global sport today. We have 265 million plus active players in our ecosystem already, and that's across global football, American football, Formula One, UFC, NHL, golf, basketball, and more. And in all of those spaces, the fans that engage with our games are inevitably engaging with other forms of entertainment and other forms of content for the sports that they love the most. But yet they are more than likely having to go to 3 or 4 more other places to get that content, right? Or get those interactions in some places, at some points maybe even engage in commerce around it. So that's the opportunity space for us, is can we put ourselves in a position where we can begin to facilitate more of those points of connection and turn it into an environment for massive online communities to be able to come together around and through our games and be in their fandom together and not have to go outside and go into other platforms or go to other sources to get that content. Now, what it's not saying is that we'll be the singular source for all that content, but can we create the environments where fans are naturally coming together, and there's an energy about coming together as fans through EA Sports to get to what they're looking for, whether that's interactive experiences, sports games like we are already known for, to linear broadcast content, being able to integrate that into some of our experiences. Like I said, facilitating different forms of commerce, breaking down the walls between some forms of digital and physical commerce. We're beginning to do some of that with partners like Nike now. So we're taking steps towards this, I would say, less fragmented, more of a connected ecosystem around sport. And we're really excited about the opportunity that presents. Have a little bit of a road in front of us, but we feel really good about the position we're in.
Great. Well, funny story, John and I have a child of similar ages, and they're both crazy F1 fans, and I can't stay for the race. I have to leave, and I snuck out here without telling them where I was going. Being the responsible father that I am, I have a shared photo stream with my kids because one of them's 14, and I want to know what he's taking pictures of. Well, I took pictures of, not weird, I know it's Vegas, of Lewis Hamilton's car, who's in my hotel,
They are.
and it wasn't like 5 seconds later. He's like, "What?
Where are you?
Why? What?" And so, but it's interesting, right? Like, and connectivity comes from everywhere, right? And that's another fragment, and that's kind of an obscure fragment, but. I'm making it better. I bought a $120 sweatshirt to bring home, so that'll be good. But or two, right? But I think it's really interesting because it's just another fragment that people are creating fandom from, and mine's very specific to my kid. But you know, and we're rather novice. I'm more of a novice F1 fan than he is, but he got into it a couple of years ago through friends, through his social network, through gaming, through Instagram, and it's just, for some reason, he's picked Lewis Hamilton. You know, he's one of the best, obviously, right? So to be his team, and there was no linear path to it at all. It was just life.
Yeah.
It happens.
But it's also amazing, and again, we tend to refer to this internally as me search for those of us that have young children, like you and I both do. I've got a 12-year-old son. I did bring him here this weekend.
Better dad. I was gonna get to that, but he just did this.
But he is, like, I've been a Formula One fan since I was very young. He's an even bigger Formula One fan, and that's been built over 4 years. As we got into the car to go to the airport this morning, he was just like beside himself with excitement. And he's like, you know, I remember watching the 2020 season, 2021 season, and the end of the season, Abu Dhabi, where it was, you know, Max and Lewis fighting down to the final laps for the championship, and just, you know, that was the moment where he really like launched his fandom. But it did. This goes to the point we were talking about. It didn't stay in just, okay, now I'm waiting for the next race and the next event. It went immediately into, Dad, can we get the app on my iPad? Can we get the game on our Xbox? You know, is there a mobile experience I can watch? Can I subscribe to the YouTube channel to go like deep into the depths of watching like old races and highlights? And you know, again, he's a fortunate young guy that, you know, his dad works in this space, and so he's launched his fandom with Max Verstappen, and, you know, absolutely loves as much as he can get his hands on. But that's what fandom is, you know, today. It's not in a singular experience. It's not, I watch the races and I follow the standings and I like read the news articles. It's like, I want to go immerse myself in it. And yeah, I want to wear the gear, and I want to have the pictures on my wall, and I want to have the helmet, or the you know, scale helmet, and I want to play. So that's what fandom is today, and what it will continue to grow through, and that's why we feel so good about the position that we're in. Is the center of that is, you know, connectivity and interactivity, and it being a shared experience.
For sure. I told John too, and we'll just, where are we with time, by the way?
8 minutes.
8 minutes, okay. Wow, see, it goes fast. I had a bone to pick with him last week because, you know, I've got 3 boys, 2 older than him, and the college football game came out, right? It was, how long had it been, 10 years?
10 years.
So now I not only had to buy the game, I had to buy a new gaming system just to play the dang game.
Yep.
So, but it's such an impactful game, right? Like what a groundbreaking time to do it, right? I mean, like the cultural, the inclusion of athletes into your game. I mean, now you can literally say it's by the thousands, right? You're doing, you have thousands of athletes as part of your games. And what is the cultural impact on that? What has it been?
Massive. And, you know, I've been fortunate to be with EA now for, I don't know, it's 13 years plus. I can say with absolute certainty, working on college football, being part of how we work through the challenge of setting up an NIL program, deciding we were going to go out to the world with this game and that program, and bringing the game to market to players. singularly one of the best experiences of my entire career at EA Sports. Just feeling like we were doing something truly groundbreaking, truly momentous that meant so much to so many fans. So I'll try to not take up the whole 8 minutes that we left, just talking about this, because you can go so deep so quickly. But I'll kind of start back to front. Just to give you a sense of the significance and the impact. College Football 25 has been the largest game launch in North America this year. In the entire industry, not just sports games, the entire industry in North America. And arguably it's been one of the biggest events in all of sports for the amount of excitement, buzz, conversation, and certainly engagement that it's driven in the game through from the moment we announced it or unveiled the product back in May through to the launch in July and continuing on today. And even just this morning, we found out that Esquire named it Game of the Year. Again, not just sports game, but Game of the Year. Frankly, I wouldn't expect that to be the only one that comes through as we go through the year. So, but bringing it together was a phenomenal example of the commitment that EA Sports has to authenticity, the commitment that it has to athletes, the commitment that it has to innovation. Putting together a game like this, you're right, it's been 10 years, so not only have we changed over, game playing platforms, consoles, PCs are entirely different generations of hardware. Our engine technologies are, far more advanced. We built AI and machine learning systems that were going to allow us to get to the scale that we would need to create content for this game. So we have all 134 FBS schools are in the game. That meant that we had to create 134 or actually more stadiums and environments, which we used to create maybe 30 or 40 in the games 10 years ago. All of those would have to be built, and we had all kinds of reference imagery that we were using that the schools had provided, but we needed a system that ultimately could allow us to build those models down to incredible depth of authenticity, from the design of the stadiums and the lighting in the stadiums down to the grass and the turf design and have that look and feel authentic and real. And that wasn't going to come from just, a team of a few hundred developers working through their typical methodologies. We had to build AI systems that would allow us to reduce the development time and do so still while maintaining accuracy. So we did that. We built a new system called Head Start that was going to allow us to, when we opened up the onboard program for NIL, and we were just flooded with athletes that wanted to be in the game. We were able to take single reference images for each one of those athletes that they provided us and be able to produce, realistic likenesses for each of them. And again, not possible if we didn't use machine learning and AI systems to allow us to do it quickly and at speed. Most of those images did not come into us until April or May, and we were launching the game in July.
Crazy.
So, it was a phenomenal tour de force in technology from EA Sports, innovation EA Sports, but commitment, not just to the project, but commitment to the athletes as well. Athletes are so central to what we do and such a central point of connection for fans today. Representing them authentically in the game, being able to provide an opportunity for college athletes to be in a game like this, whereas we've never been able to do that before. And in doing so, create the world's largest single sport NIL program to date. Like I said, just one of the most exciting, gratifying, just fun projects that I've been a part of at EA Sports. And I know everybody who was involved in it, continues to be involved in it, feels the same.
Yeah, if you guys play it, the way that they're able to update, Oregon changes uniforms at halftime, I think, right? So the way that they're able to update, and I know you hate Oregon, so it's fine. The way they're able to update uniform changes, and it's just pretty phenomenal. So hats off to you guys. I know we're running low on time, but we'll just round it out like NIL's huge. You have your next gen EA Sports group, and there's also women's sports is massive right now, right?
Yes,
So let's wrap that into one response. Like, how do you, where are you guys going to continue your focus or incorporate some of these other verticals, if you will?
Yeah, so when I say EA Sports, what's your first response to that?
It's in
It's
the
in
game.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry.
But I mean, how powerful is that, right?
Yeah.
You know, we have that singular line that really has defined us for the past 30 years, but will continue to define us, you know, as far into the future as you can see. And we look at that now and feel like just expansive opportunity around that, because what it means to be in the game now, it's not just confined to what is actually part of the interactive play experience that you might load up on a console. It's about what does it mean to be part of the world of sport. And so as in my role, as I think about how we're building the platform around our brand, you know, it really comes through not only through the products like we talked about, it comes forward through partnerships that we put together with La Liga and Nike and others that we're on the cusp of announcing, but I can't talk about right now. It comes through it comes through the work that we do with athletes, which I talked a little bit about, but we're also starting to work with, you know, next generation athletes. We just launched our Gen EA Sports program, which is the first, you know, brand level ambassador program that we've had for EA Sports, not just franchise specific. And we're targeting, you know, emerging stars who, yeah, a couple of them are in the NIL space, and some of them, you know, there's one, Bianca Bustamante, who's an F1 Academy driver. Travis Hunter, obviously, most of you probably know. He's one of our Gen EA Sports athletes. Alyssa Thompson, who plays for the Angel City, and Endrick, who is an 18-year-old phenom that plays for Real Madrid, an 18-year-old that plays for Real Madrid. You know, they're part of our next gen athlete program, where we're working to try to be engaging with, you know, these early in career athletes and be part of their journey to superstardom, and have EA Sports supporting them along the way. So our work with athletes is central to it. Participation programs as well. We want to support grassroots programs. We do this through FC Futures, is our platform. It's part of our EA Sports FC franchise. It is, you know, a program that has so far allowed us to reach thousands of young players and be able to connect them to the sport, help them learn and grow in playing the game, not just playing our game, but playing the sport. And Field of Future is kind of a similar program that we do with the NFL. So a lot of the participation that we do, and then being present in sports culture. You know, we're part of the F1 movie that's going to be coming out next year. Really excited about that. EA Sports is one of the sponsors of the fictional race team that's at the center of the movie, but we're also working to break down the barriers between linear and interactive entertainment. We're working to bring some of the movie content into our games in the future. So, you know, more of those types of places where we can be kind of at the center of sport culture. Amazon is about to release a documentary on the making of Madden, which is going to be a pretty phenomenal watch. We brought the Amazon team into our studio to work and get access to our development teams as they were finaling Madden NFL 25 earlier this year. So those things, and you know, we have our EA Sports Presents series of events that we put on. We did one here at the Super Bowl back last February. We'll be in New Orleans again. So, you know, everything across that broad spectrum. Again, it always comes back to, you know, the depth of experience that can come from engaging with our games. But the context of sports fandom now is so much bigger, so much broader, and there's so many more spaces where our fans are, and sports fans globally, are engaging and looking for that next great experience, and we can be there with them.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, just comment on that. It's like I sometimes question, are people even fans of teams anymore? Right? It's a whole. I mean, I am, but like, you know, it seems like there's a generation. It's like it's not. They're not following the same path, which we've discussed.
No, the data would tell you that, especially again as we talk about younger generations, their fandom is much more centered on athletes than it is on teams or clubs.
Yep.
Whereas, you know, a lot of us came up kind of in a little different context. I talked about the Washington Huskies, Seattle Seahawks, go Seahawks, although that's kind of tragic this year. Go Sonics, rest in peace. You know, their fandom is built more around, are they a Ronaldo fan? Are they a Hamilton fan? Are they a Max Verstappen fan? Are they a fan of Travis Hunter? These athletes now, you know, they're not only are they just doing ever extraordinary things in their field of play, but they're also building themselves as brands along the way. And so when I talk about working with some of the younger athletes like Travis and Hendrik and Alyssa, you know, the opportunity for us is to work with them as they're building their brand platforms, as they're building their own profile in the world of sport, because that's what people connect with. That's what younger people especially, that's what they connect with first and foremost.
Cool. We good?
Good.
Any questions? You guys tell me how many. We've been gone long. We started late though.
So, 2 minutes. John, when you're talking to teams and leagues that are in your game, is there a conversation about the value that you're driving for their partners that you're putting in the game on the car? And like, I feel like that might be overlooked, but you tell me.
Oh, there absolutely is, and it actually begins with a discussion of value that we're providing to our partners in not only the exposure that we give them with a broad global audience of people engaging in our game that might not be from the same region or from the same part of the world where that club is based. And we get stories all the time. I was talking to somebody on Radio Row earlier this year who was from the UK, but was a massive Indianapolis Colts fan. And the reason he was an Indianapolis Colts fan is because when he first loaded up Madden for the first time, that was the team that came up first. And that was it. That's all it took. So, you know, that times millions, right, is the type of experience that we can give. But then also the data that we can provide to them about who is engaging with their club or their players, their content somehow through our games. I have more great stories I could tell about that. I probably don't have time here. But you know, there's real value in that data and what it can show them. Not only who and where their fans are, but down to like what are the fan favorite kits that are part of their club look and repertoire, and what that can lead to for them in terms of additional opportunities with their fans.
Another question over here.
Yeah, I mean, mine's kind of a Bill, if I can talk loud. From Oregon, sorry, not a Duck fan. I'm sadly a Beaver, but we won't talk about that.
That's okay.
You just signed Max. Max is a renowned gamer. How much, so a little bit of a play off of that, how much is the shared fandom part of your partnership decision? Because, and as I'm just a fan, is he trying to lean in and help basically
I
develop?
love that you brought this. Did we talk before? Are you a friend? I love that you brought it up. So yeah, Max is a great story. We've worked with him now for 2 years. He's definitely a fan of our F1 franchise, the connected to F1. But the reason we actually initially came into contact with Max was because he is such a fan of our FC series. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, EA Sports FC, formerly EA Sports FIFA until 2 years ago, we went through one of the world's largest rebrands of that property, and it's gone exceptionally well. But it's our largest franchise by far. Has over 150 million people that engage in our EA Sports FC experiences across console, PC, mobile, everything from premium experiences to free to enter experiences to, we have bespoke experiences in some regions overseas in Asia. And it's a massive global business for us. Max is a huge fan of FC and deeply engaged player of FC. He's been known to, when he's traveling from race to race, he travels with the game system. And if you meet him sometime, you talk to him, the thing he's probably going to bring up is his phone to show you what's happening with his FC Ultimate Team. So he's a huge fan of FC and was really energized at the idea of working with EA Sports because of his fandom for FC. But what it allowed us to do also was, bring him in as a consultant on our development of our F1 game.
Yeah.
He's also, as most know, he's a deep sim racer, and our F1 game is, it's a simulation game. It's not arguably yet at the level where, somebody who's racing professionally, it has all of the exact, measures and parameters that he might want, but he's been working with us on how we can build some more of that into our game, working with us on handling models. He was literally just in our studio 2 weeks ago for a session with the development team. So it's amazing too how he can literally give feedback to the development team while he's flat out going through tournaments, breaking, and continuing to talk to the dev team while he's doing it. So it's pretty phenomenal.
Did you want to ask a question?
Could you comment on the opportunity or your approach to the crossover with music into your culture and fan building
Yeah.
as well too?
I guess, again,
We planted these
I
questions.
guess so.
Thank you, guys.
Very well.
So music is, as you're, I think, indicating, there's a central point of connection between music and sport. There's a really, really powerful nexus. And EA Sports soundtracks have long been a thing. And I work really closely with our president of music, who's based out of Nashville, a guy named Steve Schnurr, who is just a powerhouse and one of the most entertaining conversations you will ever have. And him and his team scour the earth every year to find and discover new artists that they bring into our soundtracks. And then they work with a lot of established artists as well. We have Billie Eilish on some of our soundtracks. Snoop is on many of our soundtracks. Long-running relationship with Snoop. So everybody from big name established artists, Eminem is on I think our most recent Madden soundtrack. Biggest, most established names to breaking artists who are just coming in, and it's kind of the joy of that team to go out and do that every single year, and be able to stitch together those soundtracks, be able to not only have them in the game, but to load them up on Spotify as playlists. But then it also translates into the types of events and engagement points that we can put on. We had earlier this year, I mentioned the EA Sports Presents Madden Bowl event here that was over at the House of Blues over in Mandalay Bay, and we had Breland and Big Boy and Killer Mike and Green Day come and play that, and we had Darius Rucker playing an after party with Tua Tagovailoa coming up and doing a cameo with him, and we're gonna take that same formula and we're gonna supercharge it in New Orleans in February. So stay tuned for that. Hope you all can come.
I heard it.
But those are the moments we love to create, and the intersection we have. So many musicians out there are also fans of EA Sports, so they love the opportunity, and they know the platform that we have with our games can be, an accelerant for them, especially if they're younger artists who are just looking to make a break.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Matt, thank you very much.